Okay, so it's 5:55 on the 30th, which is Tuesday, which I heard that there was some stuff going on with the banks, but my algorithm was weird. And that's one thing that when when there's certain things going on, you can kind of tell because your algorithm will get really weird, like they are interfering with the news. Like there's certain things they don't want us to know, so then they just start flooding you with other stuff. And I had seen people talking about that like last week, and people kept saying like asking other people, "What's up with your algorithm?" I keep getting videos that are super old, and having people talk to me about my videos that are super old. And so then people were saying, "I wonder what's going on. I wonder what's going on," that they're hiding it. So I don't know. My algorithm was being like wasn't being that weird then, but yesterday it was being just like one ad after another again. I just get flooded with ads, man. So mine was just in this morning too, so many ads. But there's some weird stuff I want to talk about. So one of the things is this damn ass tooth. And I just keep trying to envision it getting better and better. And then I thought it was, but something was stuck in there. So once I got that out, then it was like, it's just the same. It's just frustrating. And another thing that I remembered now, I've cut my hair, is bad hair days. It's like, oh my God, I forgot about that. Your hair just does whatever it wants to do, like fucking James Dean. I've gotten this wet so many times this morning trying to mash it. I think it's the new hairs growing in or making it stick up. And I kept getting it wet trying to mash it. It keeps doing whatever it wants. And when you just have long straight hair, it's just the same every day, just the same. And then when you cut your hair into some kind of a style, it only manages that style every once in a while. And then you start, like, well, for me, then I start thinking about the next style. Maybe I just want to cut this part. Maybe I just want to go back to this hairstyle. I start thinking of these other hairstyles. So anyways, I'm going to try and get more, what are those things called? Like devices for fixing my hair. So right now I have this one curling iron thing that it was good for long hair. It's kind of weird for shorter hair. And then more like sprays or more like texture things or something. And some different curlers and stuff. So anyways, I'm going to first try and figure out how to fix this hair in a more consistent manner. It also is like I have to wash it so often. So I don't know. I guess because I don't know. It's so weird, this whole roller coaster ride, because when everything first started, like, man, I think I went one time like 6 weeks not washing my hair, and with shampoo. Now I've got these shampoos, they're supposed to be not full of all the toxins, but who knows? Everything is such a trick. I can't even believe it. I just saw a video of this lady talking about in California the water rights, and these ZIONSITs bought it, and they bought 60% of the rights because they sold it to billionaires or something. And so then they bought 60%, and they farm pomegranates, Fiji water, and pistachios. And pistachios and pomegranates take a lot of water apparently. So after they got the rights, then they strong-armed all the other sellers out of business, and they took over. And that exact template is a crime against humanity. So then they knocked the other ones out so that they could raise the prices and charge extreme amounts for stuff. That's why pistachios are so expensive. Pomegranate juice is so extremely expensive. And and then in Fiji, they went and bought the water and knocked out the indigenous people from their water, and then hired them at like $1 a day or something to get their water so they could sell it to us for whatever, $4 or $5 for a bottle of water. So they're just criminals. And there's some couple, I can't remember, I think their last name is Resnick. So anyways, that's why everything is buyer beware, man. Do you want to support people like this? And some people will be like, well, I love pistachios. Yeah, well, do you want to support people like that? I mean, can you hold off on those pistachios? Not support these people? So, anyways, but, that's where we all come together and we strong arm them back. We stop buying their shit and let them fall on their faces because they are corrupt. And we are supporting corruption as long as we continue to support these people. So it's up to us, They're going to keep going until we say no. And luckily we're going to watch as the bank is going to, this fall is going to be, it's going to be good. I think it's going to be like if we were all in the stadium, the arena, what was that place called? Where the gladiators fought. And then like bringing a David and Goliath, bringing a giant and a smaller person, which they did do this kind of stuff. And in the battle, and this is where David wins over Goliath. So this is going to be like watching the giant fall for all of us. So it's going to be a spectacular time, even though so many people are going to be thinking about like, well, now I'm not going to get my pistachios. So you will get your pistachios again, but you have to, give us some time. Let some other farmers step in that have ethical behavior, that care about people. And so these people with a lack of integrity running the world, and we support them, and they and it's through our own consumption, our own consumerism, that we support these people. So it's up to us to, and then we just came out of the holiday where everybody's buying their shit, and then they're feeding off of all of the tension and angst that goes along with the holiday. Just think about how much stress leads up to the holiday. People out shopping, scurrying around, looking for deals, feeling like they're getting the wrong thing. They just feed into this whole scenario of us, of these people like living off of our energy. So anyways, but let me think, because this one, I gotta talk about this dream. This was so freaking weird. And what is especially weird about it is because it's like I had one that was similar days ago, or it could have been a week or something ago. I don't even know when. I'm so fucking jacked up on time and putting it into some sort of relevance of accuracy. It's just like, it just happened. I don't know. It happened at some point. But so in the dream before, I was at some gathering, and it was a bunch of people, and it was like going to a big party that there's family. So kind of like if you went to, say, your brother and sister-in-law's party, and so some family, but then there's all these other people, like their neighbors, people they work with, people that you don't know. And so it seemed like it was like that kind of party where there was like some people of family that I knew, but I didn't know all these other people. And I can't remember everything that went on at this party, but I remember there was a guy that we saw, and he was out there eating dog poop. And it was very, it was just like if it was, all these dreams are like I'm really there. That's the thing. It's like I'm really going to these places and experiencing these things. So it's not, it's like if you were really watching it. And so, we're all just like, what? In this group of people. And we're just like, oh my God. And I think that we kind of were like, just like grossed out and laughing about like, what the hell's wrong with that guy? And then I kind of forgot about it, I guess. Because it seemed like there was more things at this dream that went on, this other alternate reality, whatever. And so I can't remember, but it seemed like there was other things. And so then last night I went back. I went to another party with these people. And so it was like another party, but it was the same people. But then I like didn't know the people, but it was just like I had a sense that it was the same people. And I go in, and it was kind of like I didn't want to go to the party or something. Because there was another part of the dream. Maybe I was with somebody and we were doing something, and it's like, well, we gotta go to this party. And it's like, I don't want to go to that party. And then it's like, well, we gotta go to this party. So we go to this party. And I come in, and I'm in this room, and like there's this table, and all these women are standing around this table and talking, and there's these big windows. And out the window, and I think outside, it seems like there was men all standing around talking, kind of more like by the barbecue or something. And they're like standing over here all talking. And then there's a table with food out there. And so out the window, I see this table with this food, and I see these cookies. And they are like these cookies, but they're covered in chocolate. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta go out there and get those cookies. And so I'm a freak about cookies. So I go out there, and I go walking over to this table, and I'm standing there, about to pick up a cookie, and I notice this guy on the ground. And so I kind of step back. It seemed like there was like two people standing here, a table here, and I'm standing right here. There's people standing right here, and he's on the ground on all fours, sniffing this pile of dog poop. And I was about to tell him, hey, you can pick it up. There's bags. So I'm about to tell him that there's bags he can pick up this poop with. And he starts eating it. And I was just like, this whole look on my face. It was like I started seeing it from different perspectives. And so this look on my face, and I turn to this big window where all these people are standing. And I start making this face. And like I was about to start puking. And so it was like really, I don't know how anybody couldn't start seeing what was going on. And I don't remember if that's when I woke up or if it kept going on, because even when I wake up, I'm not fully awake. I'm just like going through things, thinking about things and stuff, and talking to myself or whatever it is. And so I was like, well, what the hell with this guy and this eating dog poop? What is that? Is so disgusting. And it was so like, oh my God, it was like I could smell it and everything. And I was like, what the hell? Why is this guy eating this dog poop? And he was in my dream before. Why does he keep going in and coming into it and eating dog poop? It was the same guy. And I don't know who he is. And so then the answer I got back was that so it was something that he did when he was a kid, or was forced to do when he was a kid. And so when he gets stressed out, he goes back and does the same behavior. Oh, I was like, oh my God. And to imagine that you would do something with all these people around, the drive that would create you to do this thing. And so then it started going through this whole thing about childhood trauma, and it causing reactions to people when they're stressed and stuff. And I guess it was like a lesson in empathy or compassion or something. I don't know. It seems like that's what it was about. And because then this conversation was going, about this. And it's almost like you're standing there with a guide or something, and they're breaking it down and talking to you about something to give you more understanding or compassion. And it seems like in the first dream, I didn't ask, I just joined the group of like making fun of somebody or something. And then once I stopped in this dream, because it reoccurred, then when I asked, why would someone do this? Then it was this whole long thing, a whole long lesson. And I know yesterday I saw this video, and this guy said, he was very confused. At least he was acting like it. I don't know. He could have just been trying to make a point. And so he said that sometimes it's hard to sleep because I'm sitting there singing. So he's sitting there, he's like, I'm just in my head singing, and then I'll start telling myself to stop. And then I'll start telling myself something else. And he said, pretty soon I'm in this argument with myself. He said, how am I arguing with myself? And sometimes I'll find it, and it's 5 different parts of myself arguing and in one conversation. And then I'll realize like I'm in observation of it. And that was something I had talked about, a few years back, where I started realizing about that, that this observation of listening, which to me is kind of like, if he was being legit, it would be kind of like the precursor to starting to question, who am I talking to and what are we talking about and stuff, and start trying to understand that it isn't just you or your brain. It's not just like your brain is splitting off and talking to itself. It is like you have a lot of communication, and you start listening. And the observation, I think, is the awareness of your higher point of self, being able to observe what is happening. So it's more complex than just like, oh my God, I'm sitting here talking to myself. Now I'm talking to myself in 5 different conversations. And now I'm sitting watching myself talk to myself. It's more of coming to an awareness of the communication and how it works. And then you got to start slowing it down. Like, well, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And there is a ruminating sense of consciousness where it's like going over something. So you do have a part that's like spinning through information and trying to decipher information. And that is one thing I think is why people need more time to recharge themselves, because the spinning of information begins to overwhelm them. And then the information is spinning because you're not stopping and thinking, just like how that went down in that dream of like asking the question and then having the whole thing shown to you, or so you have a depth of understanding about something. And so and I think when it's just spinning like that, it creates an anxiety in people. And not everybody understands like they're ruminating, like when you start using their words and stuff that they want to use kind of against us. But when you want to think about it, more of the soul or the spiritual sense of it is more of that you haven't taken time for reflection. You haven't taken time to process. So you need more time, more downtime, more time to take for you and go through your process and think about things. Which somebody asked me yesterday. It's funny because I'll get questions a lot of times about medical, but I have a different perspective on a lot of things now. And so oftentimes people don't like my answer. And so this one was in regards to, this is a complex kind of situation that we got going right now, because we have a heavy-handed diagnosis flying around. And so they are trying to give everybody these certain ones, like, everybody's got dementia now. Everybody's got dementia and the brain fog and stuff like that. And so in this person, they skipped over that and just went straight for bipolar. And this is somebody who's like in their 70s, and which you don't just suddenly develop that. But these diagnoses, like, they don't care. They just want to stick them on some drugs and call it a day. And so, and they really don't care about old people. And they really, they test on them, which I'm just going to sidebar this for a second because I saw this video yesterday of this guy, and he was talking about his dad was a doctor, I think, at a certain place, and he had heard about the testing and them taking people, and he had asked his dad about it. His dad didn't talk about it, and then he asked him again, and his dad went off and was like, I've seen this in the movies so many times, but he was like, in a movie I just watched too, this was, and he was like, it was the boys that were lost. It was the boys that didn't have, they were just bad kids. And so who cares? There was no, they weren't going to do good anyways. And so in this movie, it was English, I think, could have been Irish. I was someplace in Europe, and but I've also seen them in America too. This is just the one I saw freshly on my mind. And this guy, he had a lot of issues, a lot of mental issues, and he had just got married, and the woman didn't know until the triggers occurred. So his mom ended up in the hospital, in a psych ward, and then they said that he had to come back and manage the house. So he came back, and then he was going to keep the house. And I think he was an author or something. And so he wanted to stay there, and I think his wife was an artist or something. And so there started being lots of weird stuff about the place, and a lot of weird things going on, and she was really confused, and he was sleepwalking and stuff like that, and there's this whole long thing. But anyways, it ends up he had been in this boys' home, and he was sent there by his mom because his mom put a lot of pressure on him. And when he was a kid, and she forced him to get up and go out and go hunting, and he didn't know how to handle anything, the weapons or anything. And so he was trying to get something, I don't remember what it was, a rabbit or something, but instead he got his sister, and the sister was the favorite. And so the mom lost her mind, and she got so angry at him, she sent him to the boys' home. And the boys' home was all about testing, and basically testing and doing all sorts of experiments on these kids. And so weird, because this is what they say, happened in the holy cast of what happened back in the day. But but this has happened over and over, and even men that are incarcerated, and especially back in the asylums, which there's some conspiracy people who saying that the after one of the resets, and a lot of people go towards Tartaria, that they imprisoned the people into asylums and tested on them and stuff. So I have no idea. But I know that they've been testing on people for a long, long time. And so this guy, who's an adult man, and who was asking his old dad, and his dad broke down and started telling him and being really defensive about it. And so, saying like those boys were just bad kids. They didn't have any worth or value, so they could do whatever they wanted to them. And they did this so much. They stole indigenous children and did it. They all orphans and stuff. It's just like, it's like mad scientist world. It's so weird when you really think about how strange. So anyways, let me reel it back in and see where I was, because that sidebar went off on a side. It took me out of where I was. So let me think back where I was. So testing the shoot. If I can get back. I don't know if I'm supposed to get back, I'll be able to get back. If I'm not, just move forward, and then I might circle back anyways. But but it's got to be if I can see it again. I don't know. But anyways, they've been testing on people for a long time. Oh, what was that kid? I don't know. I saw this. There's two videos I saw this morning that were okay. Second, I saw it yesterday. I still can't see it clearly. So there was two I saw today though, and it was kind of strange because it was like I don't know if it's I don't even know. So this guy, the first one, he's telling about like a day in his life of all his mistakes and what a like a bad person he is, like what an idiot he is. And so and he seems like a blackout drunk, like he drinks a lot. And so he comes home and he leaves his car running and goes in and goes to bed. So he gets up in the morning, his car has no gas in it. And so he can't start his car. So then he calls a friend and he says, will you come and get me? I take him to the gas station so I can get some gas. And so he goes and gets gas. And he's got to ask ChatGPT all throughout. What do I do? What do I do? So he's constantly asking his ChatGPT what to do. And so his ChatGPT said to go get gas. So he goes up and gets gas and brings back. He just uses a 1 gallon thing and comes and brings back this 1 gallon of gas and puts it in the tank. And then it still won't start. So he asked ChatGPT. He said, no, you probably need 5 gallons. So he goes up 5 times. He drives up there 5 times to get gas instead of just getting a bigger thing. So then he comes back and still won't start. So then ChatGPT tells him, well, he probably needs 7 gallons. So this time he decides to empty out water jugs and get more gas. So he empties out water jugs and fills them with gas and brings them back, puts them in, and it still won't start. So then he's frustrated and decides to go to the bar. So he goes to the bar because that's what he does when he doesn't want to deal with things. So he drinks himself out of it. His own, takes himself to another world. So he goes up there and he drinks himself into oblivion. Then he goes home and he goes up on his roof. But you have to have a key or I don't even know. You have to have these swiper things to be able to move around. And so he goes up on the roof and he wakes up and he realizes he doesn't have his wallet, his credit card, his swiper, his keys, nothing. And so then he decides, well, he's just going to sleep it off up there on the roof. So then I'm not really sure because it was like he couldn't get off the roof, but he got off the roof and went to maintenance and had to get into his apartment or something. And then so he calls AAA to have them come pick up his car. And so he goes to pay, finds out he doesn't have his credit card. And so the guy who picked up his car pays for it. Then he Venmos him money over. So he said that worked out okay. Then he goes in to look at his statement on his card and sees there's $750 charged on it for the night before. So he has an alter ego name for himself when he drinks a lot. So he said he figured it was him who spent all this money drinking. And so then the car place calls him and tells him that he destroyed his something in the car, and something with the filter system or something. It was going to be $2,500. Then he had to buy a new fob for the car. Then he had to buy a new pass for his apartment. Then he had to, so he said it was like this whole little 24-hour period cost him like $4,000. And then he was making like a joke because he said, how much it all costs, but the memories are priceless. But he had already said that he's a blackout drunk. He doesn't know how things happen, how he gets there or anything. He just wakes up. and has no idea what happened. So that's the thing that was like kind of strange. You're talking about all these stupid things you did, like you're trying to face yourself, but then you're making it a joke, because a lot of people do weird, stupid stuff. And oh Lord, still, I got a ways to go. Sorry. Just, is she laying on top of you? Just move. If she's laying on, Ruthie is the worst, I swear to God. She just has to be laying on top of somebody all the time. She's got to be laying on top of me at night. And when I try and scoot her back, she just scoots back over. And she gets pissy about it too. Like, oh, God, I've got to lay on you. And she's heavy. She puts all her pressure. And she goes and puts it all on Stella's hips all the time and her leg. Stella, you just got to move, honey. Oh, my God, the drama. So, anyways, so that was strange story. But it's like, oh my God, this is what, living in that kind of toxic lifestyle, what it brings, just drama and bullshit. It's like, oh man. So then the next video after that is a guy who, he's like, you're never going to believe what I saw today on the road. You have your whole bed to yourself. Like, you don't have to lay right next to me. Lay in your bed. Just lay in your bed. Okay, lay right here. Do whatever you want. It's up to you. Don't knock over my thing. So he's in Oklahoma City or whatever, driving down the road. And he said the person in front of him is like swerving around and kind of driving erratically. So he decides to pass him. So as he's passing him, he said that he decides to look over and see what's up. And he said, like, I don't know, why do I look? Why do I need to look? Why don't, And so what he saw was a woman who was, he said she looked like she was about in her 70s. I don't remember if he said 75, but he said in her 70s. And which, I mean, everybody ages different, so it's hard to even really give a point of reference on someone's age, if you ask me. But so she has her shirt totally off, and she's driving, just playing with her breasts and nipples, like driving down the road, just going at it. And he's just like, oh my God, what the hell? And he said he started thinking like, oh my God, was she just at Christmas with her family and they think that she's normal? Like, what is going on with this lady? And which reminds me of the poop eater. And then he said that he thought, well, people are not going to believe me. So he starts videotaping it. And he said he will show the videotape if people want to see, but he'll blank out her face and I guess her nips. I don't know. So anyways, it's like, I don't know. I don't know. There's been so many people. I mean, they've been on the airplanes. They've been in the airport. I mean, I don't know how, like, what is happening with people, how they are becoming, because they're out in public masturbating all over the place. Baseball games, like, all over the place. It's like, you forget where you're at? Like, what is happening? And that was bringing me back to what I was talking about before. It was like coming back. Hold on. Forget where you are. Start doing inappropriate behaviors somewhere in public. Not realizing. Oh yeah, okay, so the dementia thing. So so this older lady, she got diagnosed with bipolar and they stuck her on more meds. Then they started saying that she was overloaded with okay, you just can't just say some of these things. Especially when it comes to a DRUG. And so I'll just say it kind of weird because it's a common one. Oprimazole. So, So she had taken, they had her on too high a dosage or something, is when she started having these weird behaviors. And so they had taken her off of that. And then they decided she's bipolar. Then they put her on these things. And so this family member was like, well, what could be going on? And it's so weird. And so somebody asked me because of my medical background, and I say what I say. I say it on here all the time. I say it to people in the physical. I say it to everybody who asks me. And I've brought it up and brought it up so many times, but people just don't want to hear it. It's like and I'm not just making this up. Like, I could see it, but then I started seeing a bunch of doctors who could also see it. And I've seen so many doctors talking about this. And and then I've seen so many talking about what the sea is, what it is that's killing us and stuff. And it is every single thing. The people who are aware know that everything that is getting us is bugs and chemicals. So it is toxins and parasites. So, and that's why you got to do these cleanses. And that's the thing, is we are so overloaded, overrun in this environment that we are clogged up in our system, the same way as people's brains are clogged up and spinning out of control and losing perspective of where they are. And that so your system is going to start getting clogged up, and your blood's going to become more thick, and it's going to, and then plus they're putting stuff in it. They were putting stuff in, more experiments. So and a lot of people in the conspiracy world know the words that they put in. So there's all that thing that created ropes and so the whole thing. But just all of the different, and there's no telling, there's no telling. I mean, all this stuff is like, we go past it and we look back and we can see and start putting, but so we don't know looking ahead, like, what is this doing? What is this doing? What is this? What is this? What is this? Like all these different ones. And what is growing inside of us, So, and I mean, they've put it out there about the fungi thing, and I'm sure that there is, I'm sure that they put that in a show even, and it takes over. It's like where they can start controlling your mind and stuff. So there's way more to it, which I really got to talk about this 3-eye atlas. I don't even know. I would say it's done so well, but there is some highly sophisticated techie people out there who can really do stuff well. But I would say that, this could probably be some sort of low-key government disclosure channel. But I'll tell you, because I've only seen 2 other videos, but I'll tell you in a minute. But so your blood will get all like thick, and so then your filter system. So, and your GI is a big part of, because it is where you accumulate, where you your nutrition is all absorbed in there. And so when you have issues in there, it's not fully functioning. And that's so common right now, is the GI disorders. But I think also when you start listening to your body and talking to your body and stuff, it is making it, it's like more extreme over things that you're not working on, things you've got. But they're also, you could have worked on them and still be getting issues, because I've worked on that stuff, and still some of this stuff is super duper toxic. So anyways, but clog up your filter system. And then where people, oh, well, I got brain fog and all that stuff. Well, you've got a buildup of stuff. There's stuff building up in there. And so it's creating people to not function properly. And that's why this big thing on DETOX and CLEANSE is super important, and that people need to be doing that. And so even when I start saying that, like, that's what needs to be done first. That's first. And I said, even for dementia and Alzheimer's, there's certain ways that it plays out. And these people it's not playing out right. So they're not, well, it depends on who is giving your DX, and what it is that, they're trying to, I don't know, could be what they're trying to get kicked back on or something, who knows. But that in order to literally have, or to really have a true DX on certain things, such as the dementia, and you have to follow a certain criteria. There's a certain way it comes about, and the same with Alzheimer's. So it is, you have to follow a map to get there, and it's not doing that. And so you just start, they could have a new one where they're calling it brain fog, but some of the, MDs are figuring out like it's a buildup of this certain stuff, and certain stuff that you don't even know what it's doing. So it can be up there just eating away or burning, I think about like what acid does or different things. So it can be causing more issues, and not getting rid of this stuff could be really causing more harm. And it's really weird when you start saying stuff like that, because it's none of it's real, but your experience is real. What you're here to learn, what you're here to go through is real. So that is a part of your storyline. So if that's what your storyline is, then that's what you're here to experience. But that doesn't mean that your body's more real than somebody else's. It just means what you came here to experience. So anyways, but as people awaken and start seeing that the toxic world that we live in, and the importance of cleaning yourself up inside and out, is what the direction to go. But anyways, when you start seeing that to people, it's just like, people just think it's wacky. And it's just like, when people think something's wacky like that, it's like they're not ready for the information. They're not ready to absorb that information. So it just sounds like nonsense. And I really wonder, now there's 2 points, two different groups in this GATE program thing. And whatever they did, it was like, what? Because a lot of them, they don't have memory of stuff when they were kids. They wiped. But Corey Good said that's what they do. They would wipe their minds. They would use them, try and figure things out, and then they would wipe them. But all these people have started having these memories coming back, and there being all these different tests and stuff they were testing on them. I'm just glad I didn't get caught and taken in to any of those, because I don't even know what the test, those tests are written to expose certain characteristics in people. And so anyways, like I've said before, my guides told me just fill in the dots, don't do the test. And then even when I tried to do the test after a couple years, and I couldn't read it, I couldn't understand what it was saying. So I was like, okay, I'll just fill in the dots. So I just went back to filling in the dots, because I couldn't comprehend what it was saying, because I wasn't supposed to. I wasn't supposed to go into one of their programs. And so anyways, but they were, looking for people who like psychic kids and stuff like that. And so, because the government wants to use them. And because their whole fucking thing is about that. And then plus this searching for these certain bloodlines and stuff. And if I think if some certain characters come in and they are more advanced in some kind of way, then they try and figure out like their bloodline or where they come from, what planet they could be from. So probably some of the testing is to try and weed out and figure out because of who they're looking for. And they're looking for different ones. I'm not sure who all they're looking for. There's definitely people now saying that they're looking for Mary Magdalene's bloodline and Jesus's bloodline. And so I don't know. I know they're definitely looking for bloodlines and certain people and certain gifts and certain stuff. And the people who have certain gifts, it's just so they can use them. It's not, so it's kind of like Stranger Things or something. And I don't remember, was she made in a lab or was she found as an orphan and then they started using her? But that's what they do. So the, what was that other thing I was about to say? Oh yeah, because it's this video. So I saw this lady yesterday who was talking about this, I can't remember his name. Something like Gatlin or something. So she's like, have you seen Gatlin's new video? And she said, I don't know what all, but I really am really thinking, like, I'm really believing the stuff he's saying. And so anyways, let's watch it together. So then she starts having his video come up on her video. And it's kind of like a cartoon, kinda. What is that other kind? Like, where they make the claymation or something. So it seems beyond cartoon, but more cartoon. And but it's really cool, whatever it is. So that's what I was saying. Like, I don't know. There could be people that are this tech savvy, and they also have to be open to. They have to know a lot of stuff. So hold on. So the first one yesterday that I saw, let me think what he was saying. Which there's a whole bunch of people now putting it together with the sickness too, and talking about this thing, and lots of people are having it, and it's a whole thing. You just gotta go watch the videos of people talking about the sickness. So the one yesterday he was talking about. So the premise is that he is a reptilian on the Atlas. And so he's answering questions. People are asking questions and he's answering them. And I'm trying to think, what was the question yesterday? I don't know. I can't see it that well. But the one today that I saw. So this person today said, what happened to the dinosaurs? Was it an asteroid? And he said, so that what he said was, I don't remember I don't think I can say all the things he said. It was like, whoa. So at this period of time that there was an asteroid shower, and there was also a bunch of people from Mars. And so it was killing the dinosaurs with these asteroid shower. And then some of the people went in underground of the planet. So they went inside the planet. And others left. And then they went into a ship that is what we think of as the moon. And then they parked it out here. And so they went in and they said on the other, it was planet Malark or something like that, blue, which created the asteroid shower. And that there was a lot of warring and stuff. And so these people, these Martian people, they went into the moon, which was a ship. And on the other side of the moon, he said it's just all craters because of how it was blasted with all of the asteroids. And so then he said that then they came out after it was all done and came back to the planet. The people came out once it was livable. Then they came out from the moon ship, and then the people from underground came out, and then they started just rebuilding again. And that's when they rebuilt. That's when they started building all of these pyramids, and they were building the pyramids to heal the planet. And so then they lived for thousands of years in this certain dynamic of whatever was going on at that period of time, which everything is these cycles. And it probably was way longer. You know, they try and tell us like it's this linear timeline that made no sense. It's never made sense. And so many people, you know, have started realizing like it doesn't make any sense how these people were so advanced and how we are, how did we de-evolve? And so so he said they lived for thousands of years in that timeline of this spiritual healing the planet and stuff like that. And he said that the people who are representative of, I guess, the ones that were up in the moon ship and the ones that went underground, the Martian people, they have a really elongated skull. And there's all this all of this these skulls, whatever, these skulls and stuff that people like, and it's just, what are those people called? Not astrologists, not anthropologists, people that go do those digs and stuff. My daughter went to school for that. Whatever it is, that they went to, the people went and, the people who go do those digs and stuff have discovered tons of these skulls and these elongated skulls and stuff. And I don't know, Smithsonian's always trying to hide stuff and stuff, but there's always stuff being hidden. In the archaeologists that don't go along with the program, they get their character assassinated. So they get devalued by the rest of the people, and they get the heavy-sided group of liars, and they disarm the ones speaking the truth. And so it makes the person who is saying the truth look like a crazy person. And they do it, it's all purposeful how they do it. And Nancy even talked about before how they do it. And she said, so like it had to be the character playing her, because I don't see why they would expose themselves to this freaking ridiculous hair some days. So they said that it's a way that they create this whole thing around somebody's character to devalue them with this push. So they so anyways, the archaeologists don't go along with what they're told to go along with, then they get discounted as being crazy, fake, phony, and stuff like that. So and then they hide certain things. So there could be tons and tons of these skulls out there that show this elongate, which that is like what I've been saying for a long time. This place has been colonized by other places, and it's all these different, like, if you want to think of them as alien races or different tribes from different planet, however you want to look at it, is different beings from other places. They're not just all, and they could be humanoid, but they are still different than what the earthlings are. And so that's why I think it's going to go more towards earthlings and stuff than just like humans. So the besides they've like done a lot of stuff with the tweaking on people's stuff to try and interfere with the DNA structure and stuff like that. And especially because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. So he said that the truth. He said the truth is going to be coming out. That they're going to start telling. We're going to find out about all this stuff, and everything is going to be coming. You know, the governments that were right on the cusp of disclosure and the truth coming out of our, if you want to call it our history or the history of the planet, and all this information that has been hidden about the truth about the planet and the people and stuff like that. But that goes along also with that story that I had seen on Ancient Aliens about the moon being a ship, and that that it is moved around, which last night it was this is one thing when you start really paying attention to the moon. It's just all over the place. It's the weirdest thing. And then it changes really quick too. And so, I mean, the other day it was like a tiny crescent, then it was big, and then now it's almost full again. So it's huge. And it seems like it should go like more gradual, not these big jumps. And so and then for a couple nights, like last night I had to open the door, which it was like a whole bunch, but they weren't lined up in the same way. It seemed like that there was a lot of movement. And so there was tons, though. There was a lot of whatever you want to think they are up in the sky. Some people think they're stars. Some people think I think that there are kind of like orbs and ships and like an orb has to like travel in something, and so it's kind of like an encasement around it or something. So anyways, I think it's more like ships all over the place up there. And then the moon keeps being like, some days it will, like lately, some days it's just like right there. It's there when I get up, and it's there, it just stays there for days. And it doesn't move. And then other times it will like, then for a couple days, maybe it'll be over there. And then all of a sudden it'll be way over there and really low. Like it's just like really random and strange. And so last night, because it had been so dark, oh my God, it'd been so dark. Because even that one lady who had said something on one of my videos about the weird stuff she'd seen in the sky. So when the dog wanted to go out, I walked out there to look and see, and it was just so dark. And it was just like pitch black out there. And so then, and that was the night before last, I think. And then last night, when I opened the door, it was like somebody had a light on in the yard. It was so bright. And so I wanted to see where the moon was. So I put on my shoes and I walked out there, and it's fucking freezing cold here. It is so fucking cold. And so I walked out there. It was like right above the building. And it was huge. It wasn't full, but it's 3/4. And so bright. It was so intensely bright. I could not believe it. It's like, I don't know what the fuck. Do they have like a light source inside of it and they're turning it on? Do they have something that is shining on it? I don't know. It's weird. And I had this one video I had sent. My brother had asked me if the water had risen from the rain. And so I did a video to walk out there and look at it. So I'm walking through the field, just talking to him in the video. And so, yeah, I was clearing my phone out yesterday, and that video, I started seeing that video, and it looked like somebody was shining a spotlight on me. This was the daytime, and it looked like somebody was shining a spotlight. And so I was like, what the hell is that? So I looked at the video and I was like, oh my gosh, that was a video that I took walking out to the river. So I was looking, and so the sun is shooting out this like spotlight thing. So that is not, I mean, there are so many people who try and say like all this stuff is normal, this is regular. But luckily, you know, I talked to so many people who remember the sky like the way I do when I was a kid. And, but that is not normal. The sun did not send out this spectrum of light that caused this spotlight to come down on top of you. It used to be like these rays would come out, and it was, I don't know, it just seemed more natural. This seems so unnatural. And so, anyways, I took that little clip out of that to make a short, because I'm always trying to get people to see like how odd these things are, but there's still so many people who are just like, that's not strange, that's holding. And then the people come in and try and explain it to you scientifically. But whatever, there's definitely something weird going on with the sun and the moon. There's definitely something weird going on with the clouds. There's definitely something weird going on with the colors in the sky. And the what was that I was just seeing? The sun and the moon, the clouds, the sky, the colors, the what was that? So weird if I don't grab it or look at, give it attention right then, and it just like it's like driving and then going past billboards, and you're in a conversation, and so you don't give the billboard complete attention, and then you're trying to remember what was on that billboard. I swear to God, I just saw a face. I just saw something on that billboard, but then you can't grasp it because it was like going by too fast. And that's what it's like when the information is like going. And it's like if you don't look at it and pay attention to it, and you're talking about something else, then it's like, wait a minute, what? So it was, see, the sky, all of that stuff is off. Time is off. People realizing, but people are off. But anyways, I do think that our time is growing near of when it is that we're going to start having disclosure. And I think that Gortham or whatever his name is, Gartham or whatever, that character, whoever's running this page, is right. I haven't seen all the videos though, so I don't know how, but that because on Ancient Aliens they had talked about that the moon was a ship, and that it is used and moved around, and they are using it here kind of to create this cycle, I guess. I'm not really sure. Maybe that's how it is outside of the firmament. So they were trying to create a habitat inside the firmament, because the firmament was created for the experience of this low vibration experience. And we all come here. And before we get here, we know what we're doing. We remember, it's like we come here purposefully. And then we get in here, and then it's like, wait a minute, where are we? What are we doing here? What am I supposed to do? And so it's this, to me, it's kind of like this trying to remember something that you, it's like you know it in your heart, but you can't remember it with your head. And so it's this kind of, it's the whole theory, I guess, with going inside of yourself to understand yourself, because that's where you find your information. But that's why they keep dancing out here around to try and keep you drawn out and distract you from going inside and trying to remember. Because once you go in, you can remember what you're doing here and what this place is and stuff. But until then, you're just an observer in the game of life of watching them dance around you and then trying to become accepted. So it's just you're off from how you could be going through the experience, but no matter how you experience it, there's lessons behind every experience. So it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, there's not a wrong or a right way to do it, but there is a way of, that you do start remembering and connecting to yourself when you start going in that direction. And it has to do with asking yourself questions and trying to understand yourself. So when you do start having these communications where you feel like you're talking to all these people and you're observing yourself in all these conversations, it's not just yourself. You got to start realizing it's more like a room of and start trying to figure out like who else is talking to me and what are they talking about. And so it's kind of like, you could hear it through your own voice or something. And it could be, that you would just are ruminating on a whole bunch of stuff and you need to slow down. But there is a whole conversation. There's conversations going out there. You have access to the universal mind. And so, yeah, it kind of is like if you are, it kind of like, I see it kind of like a phone off the hook or a radio station on, and you're in the other room and you can't figure out where the sound is coming from. And so it's kind of like that in your head. So you have all of this stuff going on, but you have access, you can hear what's happening in the room, but you can't figure out that that's happening or where it's coming from. So that has more to do with the tuning in and really trying to understand. And the more you tune in, the more you try and understand, the more you will understand. So it's but that's the direction that you got to go, is to want to understand, what is this place, what am I doing here, and stuff like that. But anyways, you come in here of your own free will and you know what you're doing. You're not lost when you're outside of here. But if they created this habitat, which to me the challenge of the habitat is this whole thing of finding yourself, even when they are like going into a haunted house and you got to find your way out, and they keep doing all of these things and causing a problem. Or even one of those rooms, those trap rooms, whatever they're called. I've been in them before. It's kind of fun. You've got to try and find your way out through these clues and stuff. So it's so it's kind of like that in this world, is you got to find your way out, but it is a created habitat of an experience. And then, like I said, they're over there, dancing and trying to distract you. And then, so it takes you having to pull your attention and restructure where you place your attention. And, but in the habitat, if it wasn't that they were trying to copy a more natural environment or something, but is any environment really natural? I don't fucking know, man. Everything is like, because the physical is just like the slowing of the vibration. And then if you speed it up, it falls apart. So everything is like an illusion or dream to me. Just like, you go in these dreams and it seems so real. And you go through these experiences and you can learn from things happening in it and stuff. And then, but then when you slow it down, you can learn. Okay, so when you're slowing it down, you can learn from the thing. But then when you speed it up, it just like goes apart. And so it's like you go into your dreams and they seem really real, and then you just go out of them. And then this, to me, is the same. It's like we're in this dream that just keeps going and going and going for our state of consciousness. But it is, it's just still, it's like a fantasy. And it's weird because, like, if you go, there's certain dreams or something that these other beings that are more advanced can pull you in and take over. And that's what you're kind of you're battling to build your own strength so that they can't take you over. And we're in a place where they're trying to take us over. That's where you got to build your strength to not be taken over. But that is also, I've talked about it before, but it's also shown in that show, Evil, and how that they can control you in your dreams, and they can make you think things are happening that aren't happening. They show it all the time in movies. Like somebody will, they'll be eating something and then they'll look down on it and all of a sudden it's just all worms and they throw it. And then they go back over and pick it up and they see, no, it was just rice. And so it's it's like this interference in your perspective that they can do. And that's the whole thing too, I think, behind this this way that they shapeshift, which that guy also talked about, the shapeshifting, that there's a lot of beings here that shapeshift. And so it's the same thing of like getting us to see what they want us to see. And so anyways, and it goes in dreams too. But this seems like, that's what it seems like to me, like we're in this dream where they are controlling us, but then you got to break free from it and break out of it and it's by someone's just realizing that somebody else is trying to control you. And so you pull the control back to yourself when you realize they're trying to control you, and then start questioning things, But anyways, it's just like, to me, nothing is real. It's nothing except for the fact that you are energy and that you can go in and have all these experiences and go and live all these different lives and stuff. But it still is like, it's like a fantasy. So but I think that's the part too where people start realizing that they manifest and direct how you want things to be. Which one of those two guys from that show, he did Rivalry, they are all over the place, especially the one who spoke Russian. He is just like, people are just all over him. And the other one is Asian or half Asian or something. And so then people keep saying, well, he's not getting as much attention because people are discriminate against Asian people. And I don't know. I think that people are really all over this guy, Connor, because of his, I don't know, the fact that you think he's Russian through the show, and you find out he's not even Russian. He's just like, man, he's pretty, because the other kid is playing an Asian kid, and he's Asian. And but he does speak fucking good French. So I don't know if he's really French Canadian or what his deal is, but but this kid who is says that he plays the Russian. You think through the whole thing, you think this guy's really Russian. It's like, what? And then plus people are obsessed with his butt. People are just like, everybody keeps talking about what a great ass this guy has, and you see a lot of it. But but anyways, I saw this long interview with him yesterday, and he was talking about his manifesting his life, and he's a very firm believer in manifesting. And so ever since he was a kid, he started seeing what he wanted. And he said he even used to practice monologues in different languages and stuff. And he said that he in his manifestation, he had seen himself doing a monologue to the music that he did the monologue to, which is very, the music, it really has a whole thing with the show too. Like it's very visual. It is like, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing, this show. And the what was I gonna say? Something like, because it was supposed to be this low key, this indie show. It was supposed to be just going on this little channel, like maybe even a YouTube or something. I don't know. But so the author had written the book, and then this, I think the director is gay, or the producer, whatever, whoever, and he really liked the book, but he was like, man, I don't know how you'd make that into a movie. And so then kept eating at him, and he's like, I'll be so mad if somebody else gets this story and makes it into one. So he DM'd the writer, and so they started making a plan. And so then they had, it's like two cameras, and it's like real low budget. You would never think that if you saw this thing. You would never go like, oh, this is low budget. It is like, fuck, man. And then, so they didn't have a big budget, and it was supposed to be just this like low key, small indie kind of thing. And then they started doing trailers or something, and HBO caught wind, and HBO was like, oh, we want to buy it. So HBO bought it, and it blew the fuck up. Like, these people, nobody saw it coming, and it happened so fast. And so but the one guy, Connor, the guy who plays the Russian, he was talking about that kind of stuff, about him manifesting his life and going in this direction and always seeing himself this way. Like, he says a lot of really good stuff on the manifesting that is true, because you do have to go towards, you can't just sit and envision something. You have to take action. You have to move towards what it is that you see for yourself. And but anyways, he was talking a lot about it, and seeing things and for yourself, and it is, true. And you do have to keep going towards what it is you see for yourself, and trust that it's coming from some aspect of yourself that's trying to guide you towards what you're here to do. And so the concept of manifesting isn't just pulling something out of a hat. It's trusting yourself to follow your desires, and to know that the direction you're going is coming from a higher source of self that is directing you towards where you're supposed to be going. And you have to overcome obstacles and stuff in order to get there. And you stay on track by continuing your manifestation of going towards what seems insane to other people, but you stay going. And so he was like, these are stuff happening that I saw a long while ago. And so anyways, I thought that was really interesting. So I was listening. So I thought it was super interesting. But I think that that is true. I do think that's how manifesting works, and how it is. And then so you have all these people who just come up with these random things. Well, I want this, so I'm just going to manifest it. I'm just going to keep seeing it in my head. It's like, that's not how it works. When you're manifesting, it's like something comes to you. And so it's like a desire, and it comes in all these different ways and stuff. So you have an understanding of a direction, and then you keep going in that direction. But the direction's coming from something deep inside of you, and it's propelling you towards a certain ideal, or there's a certain aspect of yourself. But you have to really believe in yourself to get there. You have to stay on track. And that's where a lot of people lose their manifestation. And you would reevaluate that in your next, in your life review. And you would see, where you went off, where you went wrong. And it would be a part of your lessons, because you're always going to do what you're supposed to do. But and we have tons of people right now who are going towards their manifestation and are staying on top of it. And they are overcoming the obstacles that come up to try and put them off from proceeding towards what it is that they believe they're here to do. And that's following your what is that, like your I can almost see it, but programming keeps coming into my head. Following your, not just your desires, because there's lots of people out there like, well, I want to be a millionaire, I'm just gonna manifest it. It's following your plan, that's not the word I was thinking of. But it's, anyways, but that's how I look at manifesting. Is it's like it's your I almost said it again. It's your journey. It's what you came here to do. And then there's all these things that will try and put you off from going towards what you came here to do. And so to keep yourself pulled into position and focused on what you came here to do is a challenge. It's part of the challenge of the game, if you ask me. But you have a lot of people at this point in our society who are at that point in the game of figuring out about going towards, what they're here to do, what their purpose is. That's what it is, what your purpose is. You have a purpose. And so you are born with the purpose, but then you have all of these things trying to influence you away from your purpose. And then when you start going towards your purpose, you're manifesting into where it is you're supposed to be headed. And then you have all these obstacles, but the obstacles are all a part of the journey to help you grow towards what it is you're manifesting. It all goes together. So your purpose, that's what you want to get more in alignment with, is what your purpose is, not just what your desires. Like so many people just, I just want to be a millionaire, and so I'm just going to manifest it. I'm going to manifest $1 million in my bank account. And some people are meant to have a lot of money, because there's lots of lessons in regards to how you deal with money and what money brings to your situation. And because it's not all good. So there's lots of lessons about it. But not everybody is here to experience, just being a millionaire. But in the state of abundance where we're headed, though, everybody's going to be fine. There's not going to be, there will probably be people who have more money than they need, and then there'll be people who have plenty of money. And so it's not going to be like a big thing, like how everything's so out of balance now, because you'll have everything you need. So it won't be like a struggle in this next part. But anyways, for so many people to just think like, well, you just manifest it. You want to be a millionaire, you just manifest it. That's looking at it the wrong way. It's way more to figure out what your purpose is. And it would have something to do with you as a creator, as your desires, as your skills, and something about you that you need to build on, something about you that you need to work on, something about you that you need to bring to the surface and be proud of yourself about and move towards it. And that is when you are manifesting into what you're here for. Sounds like it's raining. Or that heater thing is just, the heater thing could be struggling because it's fucking cold as shit out there. And then I looked, and it was like the snow thing has gone off of our thing. And now it's supposed to rain. I don't remember if it's supposed to start today or start tomorrow. But it's supposed to rain a couple days. It keeps having this cold. There's supposed to be a blizzard or something in California. There's supposed to be all this crazy ass weather. There keeps being these big earthquakes and more volcanoes. There's just so much stuff going. And so, I don't know. It's just like we're still, like, the week's just getting going. And so we still have no idea what's to come. And every week, anything can happen. And it seems like a lot is always happening. So, anyways, we'll see what goes down this week. We'll see now it's Tuesday. We'll see what happens. It must be the heater thing. He's struggling. It's so cold. It's so weird how they have those things outside. So anyways, but they don't, in America, like some people in other countries, they could have these things and they work great. And that's all that they have. And not only that, everybody has them in their houses and they're cheap. And you come over here to America and they drive the price up, charge thousands of dollars, and then they break all the time. Like, this is the second one of these units my brother has had. My neighbor at the other place, they had to get more than one, and they just break. And when I sit and listen to this one struggling out there, it's like, dang, man. And I cleaned the filters out of this one the other day. So, and they weren't even, I mean, they were going to look dirty, but not horrible. So, anyways, I don't know. The whatever's gonna be is gonna be. Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. And I'm gonna freaking just go through my bad hair day. And I just freaking washed my hair too. Makes me want to just go in and wash it again and start over. Makes me want to just cut it more, honestly. Especially this fucking James Dean thing going here. Bugs me. So, so anyways, but going through all this stuff, it is, you know, however you're getting to it. Like, I don't know. When I was listening to that guy telling that story, I thought, you know, him facing these parts of himself made him want to do better. But then at the end of the thing where he's like priceless, it's just like, is this how you want to live? You want to live like this? And I saw this other girl too. So this girl, she said she was very upset. And her timeline was so confusing. So she said that she just got married to this guy a year ago. Okay, so she just got married to him a year ago. It's her birthday, her 40th birthday, which I also spent my 40th birthday alone. And my husband took the kids off camping, and I was by myself. And it was, and that's back when birthdays still mattered to me. And so the so this girl, it was her 40th birthday, and they were out to dinner with their friends on the weekend. And she said, her friend asked her, what are you doing for your birthday? And then she said, I don't know, I have to ask my husband. And they had just got married. So she asked him, and he said nothing. And she was like, what? And he's like, I don't have any plans. And so she was really upset. So she went to bed really upset. She got up in the morning on her birthday really upset. And he says, happy birthday. And she said, what's happy about it? And she said what was the extra stinger to the whole thing was that in February, it was his birthday, and she had made this big, huge thing, and they weren't even together yet. So right there, it's like, so you weren't together in February, and you gave him this big birthday thing, take him to Circus du Soleil or something, and all these gifts and stuff, but you got married in a year. This is your first birthday with. It's like, this is so confusing. Like, do you even know this person? Like, what? It was so strange, this whole thing, because your mind starts to right away putting the dates together. And I wasn't the only one. There was people in the comments too. And it's like, so you married somebody you didn't know? Like, what is going on? This is so weird. So she, so this is her first birthday with him. And his first birthday with her was February. But now they're married. But they've been married a year. And so I don't know if she's just, I don't know. Some people tell stories and they're very accurate anyways. But so she did this great birthday for him. Now it's her birthday. He does nothing. Then not only that, he is mad at her because she's mad and keeps trying to turn things around on her and make this whole big thing. So she's on TikTok asking people like what they think and blah, 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 telling all of this stuff about how toxic their relationship is. And that's what I said. I said, I've been in marriages and relationships like this. It's called toxic and dysfunctional. Like, you want to be in something like that, then, but that is, there was, the whole thing was weird. But that's the thing, is so many people just accept such toxic relationships and then whine and cry about it. It's like, and that's just as part of the territory. The people's, and then you do have people, oh, that's a narcissist. Get out of the narcissist. Yeah, but you're a part of this. You know, I'm guaranteed you leave that relationship, you're going to go in one that's just similar, because you got to learn what these things are. You got to learn to want better for yourself. Otherwise, you just find a rotation. You're just in a cycle until you figure it out, because you're playing a part too. And so if you want to be out of these toxic relationships, then you have to figure it out. And it's more bigger than, you know, any of us can figure out for you. And so anyways, I just had to call it what it was. You know, that's when you're in a low vibration toxic relationship, and you have to find your way out of it. You can't just blame it on them. You can't just be the victim. And, you know, like, how did you end up with this person? Why did you give them such a thing? And then why did you have an expectation they were going to give something back to you? It's like, there's just things that we have to face in ourselves in order to pull ourselves free from these toxic relationships. So Anyways, but in order to pull yourself away from these toxic relationships, you do have to learn how to love yourself. That's just 101. And otherwise, you're just a product of your environment, of just being tossed around like garbage and accepting it and then arguing about it with somebody. Them telling you you don't deserve what it's like, well, you got to decide what you deserve. It's not up to them. And so, anyways, but you got to learn how to love yourself, learn how to love everybody else, and learn how to have the day you want to have, because your life is up to you. And people have got to start seeing it and claiming it and living it. So, anyways, so we'll see what we live through today. We'll see what they throw at us today. We'll see what happens, and then we'll talk about it tomorrow. So, talk to you later. Bye.